What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe, ring the bell with us, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. This ain't the fuck like this game he stinks.
Oh shit!
It's gone.
Right here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Welcome in, everybody. It's the A2D Radio Phillies postgame show, and every postgame show is brought to you by FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NBA contests, win great prizes. Sign up today. Use our promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. That's a $50 value. FanUp, you can find them right on the Apple Store. Go use it. Go come challenge me. I accept all challenges. 50-50 chance of winning. And make sure you use our promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. That's Chrome down below. Jimmy over there. I'm Tom. Family out there. Welcome in. Every post-game show, we do comments of the night. We'll do losers. We'll do winners. And our main topic on post-games is always going to be our gut reactions to what we just watched. And that's brought to you by Manscaped. And you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. And it's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. From the weed whacker to ball deodorant, Manscaped's got you covered on so many things, and that's not including the lawnmower, right? The body wash, cologne. Go check them out. Use our promo code A2D for 20% off and free shipping. So, gut reactions to the Phillies win today. Phillies beat the Athletics. I mean, unless you're like, you've been in a cave all day. I think you know the score of the game, so I didn't feel like I had to bring that to the people. But Phillies win 9-5. All right, 1-0. Here we go. There's going to be people in the chat that say 162-0. I always hate that. I mean, I'm never a fan of it. I'm never a fan of 162-0. Here we come. But my gut from this first game is there's a couple things. One, some things that I thought that they would be able to do, and that's really grind the bats out. And you saw it here today in game one. That they really are going to make you work, and you're never like out of an inning as a pitcher against them, and as an offense too. You're never out of an inning. And Schwartz leads off with a homer. That's something he does. Really sets the tone for today. But then the crooked numbers, and that's what this offense is able to do. And crooked number in the second, they put up 4, and it reminds me of the only thing I can go back to Phillies wise is like the 08 lineup, where they have the ability to have a crooked number, and those kinds of things make up for a lot. Gut reactions on Aaron Nola. He throws his curveball too much. I think he came up as a fastball changeup guy, and I believe it would be in his best interest to use that more than use his curveball. That's not saying don't use his curveball, because I think it's a good pitch for him. But instead of 28% curveballs last year to 70% changeups, I think he should swap that out and switch those two. And I think he would have a lot more success, because he only gets hurt on two strike counts. Like, the guy's never getting hurt early in counts. That's the crazy thing about him. So, I mean, listen, not his best outing. He was cruising. He was cruising for a minute, and one pitch, essentially. One pitch changes his cruise control, and then we get a little taste of this bullpen early on, and good for them. They came in, they got outs, and the only other gut thing that people could say is like, hey, you can't have 2 errors a game and expect to win many games. But this offense is going to be able to make up for a lot. But I also don't think those thought errors are really something that's going to happen like consistently. Like, one was a diving play that he didn't come up with, and the other one was a ball that you probably don't even throw. And Reese didn't do him any favors on the one because he's a little scared about that risk because it got caught before, and he was out for a long period of time, right? So it's something that he's a little wary of. So, but again, he's not going to play first base every game too. JT's going to play there sometimes. They have a lot of, and Alex going to play there, I'm sure, at times. They have a lot of versatility with this lineup. I think you saw it game one, and you're going to see it throughout the year. There's going to be obviously nights where they struggle, but I think their ability to grind you out is my biggest gut reaction moving forward. That's going to continue. I just think they're so lethal. They're going to be hard to beat for any pitcher, even the best in baseball, just because I think they have the ability to get you out of games early if they're locked in, and they can hurt you. Like every inning when you're seeing who's coming up next, you're like, chance for more, a chance for more, a chance for more, right? And when you allow like Stott, Verling, or Stott, Moniak to be 8-9 for your baseball team, it tells you what 1 through 7 must be. Right? It tells you what 1 through 7 must be. And you have a guy like Reese Hoskins, down in your lineup a little bit, which relaxes them. Okay. And Didi down there, and Segura, you don't even talk about. So if Stott and Moniak or Stott and Verling hit enough, then you're going to arguably talk about not only a top 5 lineup in baseball, but maybe the best overall lineup in baseball. If they get any type of production from those guys, that's worth it, right? It's a dangerous team. Just got to clean up the errors. I think that's going to be something we're going to do. But again, with a young talent like that, I'm not really worried about him. He's known to be a good defender. So and he's just playing third base, right? He just started playing third base. He's a shortstop, obviously. So a little bit of growing pains, but this is what this lineup's able to do. It's able to make up for mistakes. Okay, something we talk about James Harden should be able to do for the Sixers. This lineup should be able to make up for mistakes that either this bullpen costs you or your starting pitching costs you at times, or this defense at times. So excited to be 1-0, excited to be talking Phillies. So boys, what's your guys' gut reactions? And then we'll get into winners, losers of the game.
Yeah. So I got a few initial gut reactions from it. Tommy, first of all, well said. Everything you said, spot on. Just to piggyback off of some of your points, that first inning by Schwarber, that obviously first at bat of the day by Schwarber, home run. That was great. That was beautiful. Then you had JT, Bryce, and Castellanos all trying to swing for the fences in that first inning. But the fact that once it came back around and they were able to show you what they were able to do with, like you said, grinding the pitcher out and just putting the ball in play and just trusting the guys in front of you. It seemed like in the first inning, Harper was trying to swing for the fences. JT was trying to swing for the fences. And then the game progressed, and each time the top of the lineup came up 1 through 5, they were just trusting each other. So that was just beautiful to see. Nola in the 7th or the 6th, I forget which one it was, 6th inning, I think it was, where he gave up those runs. I know we've seen this Aaron Nola over the past 3 years. He looks great. He looks like a Cy Young candidate through 5 innings of the game, and then that 6th inning comes around, that 7th inning comes around, and that just seems to be his limit. I mean, we saw it in San Diego last year where he had just a monstrous game, and then the 8th inning occurred. He had no run support, and we ended up losing that game because he gives up a home run in the 8th. It's just I think Girardi's going to figure that out, especially with what Dominguez and Knievel did in the 8th and 9th inning. They both pitched combined, I think, under 20 pitches, 1, 2, 3 innings. So that was beautiful to see. Sir Anthony's back. Sir Anthony's going to be a big part of this team. Nola's going to be a big part of this team. But my last initial gut reaction is bring on the Mets, bring on the Braves. I don't care what pitchers ahead of us. This lineup is fun, and pending everybody's health, this should be a very, very fun ride.
Agreed.
Yeah, you guys make a lot of really great points. A couple of my gut reactions. Not a lot of give to this lineup. It's going to be very tough. So when you talk about those young guys like Stott, like Verling, they're going to have opportunities to hit because they're going to be looked at as probably as the more, I guess, like lenient spots in the order because it's boom, boom, boom down the line. It's going to be really, really tough for pitchers to go head to head with this lineup on a night in and night out basis. Nola, to me, is what he is. He's a 2 or 3 at best. I think that Wheeler should have been pitching opening day today. I think there's a loyalty to Nola, and I get it. He's a homegrown guy, and they're trying to get the best out of him. I think being a 2 or 3 in this league is very, very good. But watching what happened to him today is very indicative of what the league is like now. These guys can look dominant in 5 innings, but they don't go deep into games anymore. So as soon as that 6th inning pitch comes up, and he's only at 70 pitches, 70, 75 pitches, wheels fall off. It's like the old days where we were talking about, oh man, he's at 110 pitches. That's when you start seeing the wheels come off at 100, right? That was always the magic number. It's very indicative to how these guys are now. And unfortunately, I think this is as good as you're going to get with Aaron Nola. I agree with your assessment, Tom, on the things that he falls in love with and he gets into bad habits. But he's been around long enough at this point that we should be correcting some of these things. So to me, your ace is Wheeler. I think it kind of proved it even more so for me today. But the bullpen looked very good, all things considered, which is the biggest issue that this team, in my opinion, has had. Because that lineup could put up runs. The lineup's been able to put up runs over the last couple of years. But when you look at how awful it was when you got out of the starting rotation and you had to start going into the pen, and you talk about early sometimes when Nola had them real bad games and you're into the bullpen by the 3rd or 4th inning. I mean, wheels falling off isn't even the proper term for that. So, you bring in these guys like Han and Knable, these guys who can lock it down. And you're absolutely right. If Sir Anthony is the Sir Anthony we know he could be, he's going to be a huge X factor for that bullpen. So I thought Joe managed the pitching staff pretty well today. And which is good because we've seen how many times in this city pitching staff's not managed very well, not knowing when to pull the hook on certain guys. So I thought it was good. You got a couple guys out there. You got to see a little bit from Nola. You got to see your lineup, and you got to see a little bit of your revamped bullpen that I think is very encouraging. And the fact that this team was able to face that adversity of giving up runs and giving them up in chunks, and then be able to come out and respond in a big way is very encouraging. I like Stott a lot. I think the kid looks like a gamer. Like you said, first time really, it's his first big game. He's in a position that's not his natural position. He has to learn. And I'll tell you what, it's like the baseball gods know, because he got challenged quite a bit too over there in the hot corner. I thought the throwing error could have gone a different way. I thought that it could have scored that an infield hit, considering that, he was going to have to make a pretty great throw on that anyway. And I do think that Reese kind of laid that shit. He gave it to Roger Dorn. So, I like this kid. I think he looks real good. He just looks like he belongs right with that lineup. So I'm really encouraged by watching him. And I think his team's going to be real tough, man. And I love Schwarber. I had to hate him for years because he was a Cub, but I love watching this dude play, especially over the last year and a half. I think he's such a great pickup for this lineup. And a guy like him, his size, leading off is just insane to me. That's how deep this lineup is. It's really very, very, very exciting. If you're a Phillies fan, you have a lot to be excited about today.
Yeah. Well, today was the first team win I've seen since 2011. I mean, the way that they won the game, where they were out in front, Nola dominating 6-1, and then Nola, does Nola things, but then to come right back and score 4 runs is just
how nervous did he look in that bullpen though during that inning when they were kind of pulling a couple guys in to get those last couple outs? Yeah. He looked like he was ready to become unhinged.
Oh, yeah, because that's what he's used to. I mean, these are the types of games that we've lost over the past 3 years, the types of games that we've lost in August and September. And this is how the monumental collapses have occurred since 2018, 19, 20, 21. But to be able to have the offense to lay back on, and then you have a bullpen that did, I'm not going to crown this bullpen as the greatest bullpen ever, but it's totally promising to see that they didn't give up any earned runs in a game where typically past years we've seen them just lose these types of games. So to be able to have a team win like this, it's unbelievable. It's amazing. And I love Bryce and Stott. Love them. So
yeah, I agree with the bullpen. Like, they're going to give up runs, right? But last year I agree, Jimmy. This is a game they lose. This is a game they find a way to lose after that.
A lot.
and they don't respond back to it either lineup wise or bullpen getting outs, etc. I mean, you have pros back there, at least names right? So I'll go with it, and you are, you do have some decent things back there. So Anthony's going to be the big key to it all, right? Because he's really going to set it up well. But you have guys who got good off speed stuff back there, who can got a little zip, right? Got a little zippity doo-dah late in games, so that's a good thing to have. And this puts you making you feel confident too as a starter, right? Like if I'm Aaron Nola, right? I think I'm going to feel confident my next time up because maybe I start to trust those guys back there, because for the last X amount of years, he's had no trust for who's behind him either, and neither has this lineup. So I think that like they all sort of go together. And that's why baseball is such a great sport, right? Because you start believing that like, hey, you know what? Everybody says the last 3 outs are the hardest, which I agree with. But I mean, nowadays I think those last 9 are obviously your toughest. I mean, those last 9, because you have to go to your bullpen usually, and you have guys in roles, and can those guys get those outs on a consistent basis? And this team blew the league lead in blown saves last year. So you take that and leading the league in errors, I believe, or close to it, at top of the league in that category as well. And you still were 2 games over 500 with a lineup that was like okay. Like I wouldn't go around crowning the lineup last year by any stretch, right? It was good, but it wasn't like great. It wasn't what you're looking at today either. So a lot of great things to take away from today.
I'd even go as far as to say, you talk about the last 3 outs, the last 9. I'd even go as far. I would take the last 3 outs out of the equation in today's game with how these pitchers only go 5 innings. The hardest outs to get are those middle innings bridging to your closer, because man, how many times do we see this team get a great start, 5-6 innings from a Wheeler or a Nola or anybody else who was out there, and then 6th inning rolls around, 7th inning, and they're trotting out 3-4 pitchers. They can't get that last out, and it's just, next thing you know, you're putting up a crooked number in that inning. Next inning, and it's not just this team; it's around the league, because it's the way that the pitching is now in this league, that these guys don't go deep. I would argue that the game has evolved so much that the hardest is that bridge to the closer.
No, I agree, Carm. I agree.
And also, another point here, everybody minus Vierling had at least a hit today. A lot of good swings. And even Verling, he almost beat out that third infield hit. I felt like he took some pretty solid swings. I really thought that they had a good approach today coming into this game. They looked very professional, very calm, cool, and collected. And I think it shows if you look at the stat line and look at the box score, it shows everybody contributed somewhere. Yeah. So a lot to be encouraged about. You didn't see guys swinging at a lot of bad pitches or any of that. They really were patient at the plate. They drew their walks. I'm very impressed with what I saw from them today.
And going back to the Vierling point, McCarthy, Kruk, and Amaro were drooling all over it all day that he should have had 2 doubles, but the A's were just playing the shift perfectly with him. I mean, he had 2 he just slapped it right to the right field wall, and the right fielder was just there both times. So he
Good
easily could have had 2 doubles,
Good swings.
And then going back to Reese, I mean, I think Reese is going to benefit the most out of anybody in this lineup, because he has I know you guys touched on it, but just to harp back onto it, he had absolutely no pressure on him. He's slapping opposite field hits just right into the gap for singles, stretching out a double earlier too. He's going to look good, and I think Didi's going to have over 25 home runs this year, because he's just going to be able to swing the bat.
I think you look at this team, right? And how many years ago? 3 years ago, we were talking about how Reese is going to be the guy, right? He's got to be the guy. And look how much that this team has evolved. And I think that he did start to fold a lot under the pressure. But there's, to your point, Jimmy, there's no pressure on this guy at this point, because really he might be the 5th best hitter or 6th best hitter on this team at this point, to where there is absolutely, in my opinion, no pressure.
Yeah.
You got guys like Schwarber, you got Realmuto, you got Castellanos, Bryce, obviously. You have professional hitters in this lineup, all-star players, guys who have World Series rings now, hitting in front of this guy. He should see plenty of pitches this year. And I agree with you. I think he's going to be the guy to benefit the most out of this lineup.
Yeah.
I agree with you guys too. I do. And Gene might be even a guy who benefits
Another one.
This lineup. I mean, he might be a guy who definitely bats over 300 this year, just because where he's at and he's going to see pitches. Mike Collins, Kevin Long is a great hitting coach, and when you're Bryce Harper's guy, I think it gets other guys sort of buying into your approach too, right? So I think
Did you guys watch the pregame where they showed him working with Schwarber? Kevin Long.
Mm-hmm.
This dude, I mean, it's got to be so much fun working with this guy in the cages. What a likable guy. Everybody talks about how players love to learn from him, his coaching style, and it shows. It was really fun. If you get a chance, I'm sure it's going to be posted somewhere on the internet. Check it out. They did a little feature on him working with Schwarber. It was really, really good.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta watch that. But you just see it with Mickey, right? Like guys are going to buy in. I mean, Mickey got to the big leagues doing things a certain way, right? He's number one overpick doing things his way. So it's hard for these guys to change what they do and the buy in. So when you get a guy that's your biggest money player and respected around the clubhouse guy, other guys are going to listen to what he has to say too. And it takes him being a good guy too. Obviously, it's more than just that. And he's obviously a good guy. Our winner segment is brought to you by Gleason's Bar, located 6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, PA. Use promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or online. Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com is where you can find them. My winner, you guys were just talking about him. Before I even jumped into the mix, it is Rhys Hoskins today. Not because of his defense, because I'm not essentially paying him to play defense. I'm paying him to catch the ball, but I'm paying for him to be able to hit 30 home runs, be able to bat 260-ish, right, and maybe even drive in 100, right? I mean, that's what I'm paying him to do, and if he can do more than that, I'll take it. And I think if he does what he does today, and he's not gonna have 2 hits every game, but if he's willing to just take what he's given, right, stay on baseballs, not try to get pull happy, he can have a ton of success because you're going to have to pitch to guys. You're going to have to pitch to guys. There's no way in this lineup that you can start working your way around guys. That's the benefit of this lineup. That's the benefit of the protection all around this lineup. And he might be the guy who benefits from it the most, where he can have that really breakout entire season of consistency where you're like, whoa, right? And it could happen in a lineup like this. So great first day from Rhys Hoskins at the plate for sure. So he's my winner of the game.
Yeah. Mine was Aaron Nola up until the 7th inning. So I'm going to go into a different direction. I love Nola. I don't want any Nola slander throughout the season. Once September, August comes around and he's pitching games like this, then we could start getting back onto him. But I don't want to.
September, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I don't want to get on to him now. I mean, I see people in the comments saying Nola isn't it. Nola's not that. He's a 3rd, 4th, 5th pitcher. I mean, he had a solid game. We've seen this from Nola before. We don't need to harp on it. But I'm going to say, like, just Phillies in general. The Phillies fans, the lineup, just us in general. Everything that we've gone through as a franchise since 2011, and even before the 2007 to 2011 run, it's kind of just been miserable. It's a new day for the Philadelphia Phillies organization. Everybody that went to the stadium, everybody that was watching it today, it was fun to watch. There isn't really any controversy. There isn't any this side versus that side trying to debate each other. Right now, we're all Phillies fans at 6:56 on opening day. So it's just a beautiful sight to see, and I am very excited for this Phillies team. I want to see Red October. The last time I saw Red October, I was 11 years old. So, and I am going on 23 now. So it's beautiful.
Who's all Phillies fans?
I mean, I see the Flyers, so I would assume that you're a Phillies fan, but then I remember it's a
STL, baby. Let's go. No, listen, I love to see. I like when Philly sports flourishes. Doesn't matter if I'm a fan of the team or not. I think I agree with you. Everybody wins. It was great to see a packed stadium, by the way, today. Really, really nice to see that because it's been years since we've seen a stadium that full. So that was pretty great. There's a couple people I look at who I could look at as the winner, but I got to go with Bryce and Stott. I thought this kid looked like he belonged. He contributed. Get that first one under your belt. Get that first big hit. Now you got a single and a double and an RBI. His family there. I just loved watching his family, knowing the whole backstory with the number and all that. I really felt like this kid was a big winner today. And I think that this kid has a real legitimate chance at becoming, an everyday cornerstone. I'm not saying an all-star yet, but at least an everyday contributing cornerstone for a team that now, since they have put so much money into guys who are approaching 30 years old or are at 30 plus years old, you have to find the youth in this organization. And it has been few and far between over the last few years. So I think this kid could be one of those few, though, that is in between somewhere and ends up working out for them. So I'm gonna go with Stott. I thought that he looked like a big leaguer today in his first game. He's my winner.
Yeah, he definitely belongs here. Tell you that much. Definitely belongs. So I'm glad.
Honorable mention though has to be Schwarber. I mean, Jesus,
Yeah.
coming out and just hitting a bomb, an absolute juiced bomb. I mean, that dude, Philly's gonna love him.
And he grinded out that at bat too. That first at bat of the game. That was full count. So
he walks a lot too. He walks at a
He's
good
a
clip.
great leadoff hitter in today's baseball.
That's why I hate, that's where the advanced numbers come into play, because everybody looks at like batting average, and that doesn't always tell the story. On base percentage is something you got to look at and see what these guys contribute. And I mean, him and Bryce to me are two guys. I mean, Bryce to me is the poster boy for that. He might hit a 240, 250, 260 clip, but he might have an on base percentage of 440. Like he's that, he's still grinding out at bats and having good at bats. So,
yeah. And these next two, you say that the youth cornerstone, Stott's one of them, and this franchise doesn't really have anything else other than that. I mean, we got Mick Abel, but these next 2 years, when these guys are just in their prime, going towards the end of their prime, and Schwarber, guys like that, these next two drafts are going to be huge. Dombrowski needs to do something to be able to build up this farm system again, because you got Castellanos for 5 years, you got Schwarber for 4 years, you still got Bryce for 9 or whatever it is. But these next two drafts are going to be crucial in keeping this franchise afloat once these contracts are up, because by the time these contracts are up, hopefully we got young guys to pair with Stott, to pair with Hoskins when he's going towards the end of his prime. So it's going to be crucial. You got JT for 4 more years. So let's hope and pray.
Stupid money if you do that stuff well.
True.
Loser of the game is going to be brought to you by BetUS. Hopefully people aren't losing money over there, but BetUS is the leading online sportsbook that's been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Use the link and write in our comment section over on YouTube and write in our description on Facebook for 125% sign up bonus. I mean, loser of the game, I'm just gonna say it's Nola's curveball. That's my loser of the game. Nola's curveball. Been a struggle, so I'll keep it simple on my loser.
Oh man, it's hard to. I mean, any loser that was standing in that Manco line, just come down to the shore. That those lines, it just looked insane out there in those lines. I mean, everything was great about this game today, but then you go look at the pictures of some of the lines in the concession stands. I mean, Manco pizza, it's good and all, it's really good, but I mean, you're there to watch the baseball game, right? not stand in the river of red.
Yeah, I'm good on the lines.
That was insane. That picture that Brian sent us in the chat, it was unbelievable. So
I got 2 losers of the game. Well, technically 9 losers, because there was 8 losers fighting in the stands in right field, which I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. My buddy and his family were right next to it. Wow. But they were talking about it on Twitter. It was like a big 8-person brawl. Bunch of losers getting drunk early in the day, opening day. You got a group of kids who play little leaguers around you, and you're going to get into a fist fight. Bunch of jerk-offs. So I hope they see this, and I'm calling you a jerk-off. I hope they say it. But for me, it's Aaron Nola. Sorry, it's Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola is just, he is what he is. I don't think he should have been the opening day starter, but they have a loyalty to him. But we'll see what we get from him this year. Hopefully I hope he is that guy for you guys. I hope he is that ace, or like a really strong number 2. My gut tells me he's a fringe 3. But at least you got that W. You got Wheeler coming out.
The only reason he started today on opening day is because Wheeler was pushed back.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason. He starts opening day if Wheeler was ready to start opening day.
Yeah.
I think he's starting Tuesday against the Mets, and that's the day I'm going. So I'm excited for that. But when it comes to Nola, I just think he's a 6 inning guy. He's going to look like a Cy Young candidate through 6 innings. And then, all right, maybe 5. Six is the max. Obviously, 6 is the max.
Anybody could get 6 every now and then.
Yeah, but when you look at the fact that when it comes to Girardi, after that second base hit in that 7th inning, he should have been gone. You should have brought in a reliever. And I saw it coming. I didn't think it was going to be a home run, but I just saw runs coming onto the board.
So I would agree with you, but I know Tom will agree with this. We watched this kid cruise a couple of years ago, and Gabe pulled the plug on him opening day. Way earlier, and the Phillies ended up, I think, losing that game, right, Tom?
Yeah.
So if he's going to be your guy that you're still relying on, and still, trying to strap the rocket ship behind and give him every vote of confidence, you can't pull him after 2 hits. I don't disagree with you in that we all could see where this was going. But you have to, at least this early in the season, when you have a 5-run lead, you have to give him a chance to try to work through it. He just wasn't able to do it. But you have
come September, you're pulling the plug on that once that second base hit.
Honestly, maybe July or August. If you're in a race, when you start hitting the All-Star break, maybe you take less chances. But early in the year, you have to, as much as I'm not a huge Nola guy, you have to put the confidence behind him and give him a chance to work through that.
Yeah.
He's a professional at this, he's been around for the block now at this point. So you have to give a veteran a chance to work through that.
Yeah. It's just the one time he ever sees adversity it's just 1-run city, 2-run city, 3-run city. Like, he's giving up runs. So like we've seen the story before. So I love the guy up until the 6th inning. I think that's what I've learned after today. Finally, that I don't want to see no more Nola after the 6th inning unless he's just absolutely cruising, And he was cruising, but then he gives up the 2 hits. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna pull the plug on him for the whole year, his first time out either. But I will say it's the concern of the curveball with 2 strikes. I mean, so he's a pitch away. So I mean, he's a pitch away from having this little struggle with 2 strikes since 2020, which has really inflamed his earned run average. I mean, I'm not saying like if you take it away. I'm just saying if you cut it in half, if you cut that problem in half, he's in a really good spot, and he's able to cut it in half. But it's just about him switching up his pitches there and not being so curveball heavy in those spots, and more rely on his changeup sometimes. So it's more just having a good mix of it. But I mean, I'm not going to run around saying he's an ace, but I'll run around saying he can be a damn good number 2. And there's going to be times where he can get into the 7th, and there's going to be times where he can't. But this game here, like, go let him try to get out of it and see if he can, because he was at like 72 pitches anyway. So I mean, I'm okay with it.
I thought Joe managed the situation well. He didn't leave him in too long. He gave him a chance to kind of work out of it. At what point do we say, JT, when are you going to take control of the situation and say, no, we're not going to throw the curveball on 2 strikes all the time? It's not working.
Hey, he didn't have Andrew Knapp
some
today.
Of the accountability goes to the manager behind the plate.
No, they're done.
He didn't have his guy, Andrew Knapp. Andrew Knapp was his guy. I mean, he was complaining about that a year and 2 years ago that he didn't want JT to. Well, it's not that he didn't want JT to catch him, but he was way more comfortable with Andrew Knapp catching him. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was also a guy that he was with in the minors too.
Yeah.
Knapp.
I still think that's a crumb move because JT is, best catcher in baseball, right? So, well, why wouldn't you want to throw to the best catcher in baseball? Well, as we proclaim him the best catcher in baseball, I think he's maybe top 3, but he's still one of the better catchers in baseball, and you want to pitch to.
It's a disrespect. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Maybe, but it doesn't mean he's great at calling a game. You know what I mean? You can have all the tools to be a great catcher in baseball. Like you can be a guy who bats 280 and loses 30 home runs, say, and has over 100 ribbies, and you got a cannon for an arm, but you might not call the best game. So like there's guys like Yachty that are still hanging around because of his ability to call a game, right? So he still has an impact even if he bats 240 for you at this point of his career because he can call a great game. So I think that part of it, like, because to the naked, not to the naked, to the naked eye in a way, we're not going to look at that. We're going to look at the tools. But that's the only reason I could say, like, oh, maybe like throwing that guy better or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, you're a pitch away in all these spots from that not even being a question. So, that's on him too. And on both of them. It takes two to tango back there. So,
yeah.
But listen, boys, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Bring on the Mets, bring on the Braves. I'm ready. I'm ready for this summer, boys. I'm very excited for it. So
for me, I think the bullpen is definitely improved. I mean, it's a game in, but I'm encouraged by that. And if it is, and if this lineup is going to be able to work at bats the way they did today for majority of the season, this NL East is going to be a lot of fun to watch this season. A lot of fun. So hats off to the Phillies. Great win for you guys today.
Yeah, my closing thing is like we said, just on my gut, this lineup looks to be as advertised, and if you can just get enough from your staff and from your pen, you're going to be in really good shape. And if you can just field it enough, right? You're going to be able to field it enough and get enough from your pen and your starters. And I have a hard time finding a way for this team not to win, 90 plus games. If you just get enough from those areas, just enough. Just gotta get enough. And if you get more than enough, then you can talk 95. Then you can talk 90, right? Then you can get crazy here. But in terms of being a 90-win team, you just gotta get enough. And those guys, day one, looked like definitely better than even last year rolling out names. Like last year, our pen was upgraded from the year before when we didn't know anybody. And then this year, there's a lot more names in there that have guys that we know, we've seen throw, right, and et cetera, right. And that's a good thing sometimes because guys can go somewhere else and find it. That's why the bullpen's crazy, right? Yeah. Guys go somewhere else and they figure something out for a year or two and they become money in a role, right? And we'll see if some of these guys can start, finding a role. I think the other winner on our way out here is Sir Anthony. I mean. First time pitching in a big league game in a long time. And I know with Tommy John, is a long road to recovery to come back to be able to throw. So credit to him. He's a winner for getting back out on the mound today.
Yep.
One last one. I don't know if this is his first year. If it is, I don't really recall ever even listening to him do a game, but I actually would have to call a winner being Ruben Amaro. I really enjoyed him in the booth. I thought he did a pretty good job today.
Yeah, he's there every once in a while. He has good chemistry.
I don't recall seeing him or hearing it, but for my first time, he was pretty good.
He is good. I think people give him shit, but I think he's good. Yeah. I think him and Kruk are good together. They give you that perspective. I think they got good chemistry together. So, as an overall broadcast, triplet there, they do a good job. Those three do a good job.
Dan Baker's a fucking win, man. Everything that dude's been through cancer. Loved seeing him out there. Loved hearing him do opening day to a packed stadium. Dan fucking Baker.
Absolutely.
And he loves this more than it, just as much as everybody else. I loved it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And this ain't even hitting season or hitting weather yet, boys, either. Beautiful day, but not necessarily hitting weather. So wait till the air gets a little thinner. Okay, wait till the air gets a little thinner. They put up 9 and against a good pitcher too. I mean, I'm not gonna say the bullpen's good, but a good starter for sure.
Yep. They put up 9 runs, and only 1 run was a solo home run. Everything else was just, in a way, just small ball. It was 8 runs just up on the board. He had the 1 solo by Schwarber, and then everything else was just single here, double there.
A couple back-to-back doubles. Yep.
It's
Jesse,
beautiful. 2011
will be the last time that it was this exciting on opening day.
That was a great year.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for commenting in. Chrome, Jimmy. Hey, fuck you, Chrome.
Yeah,
Chrome.
That's terrible.
Great first post game. We'll have more Phillies post game coverage coming at you during the weeks. I know Tuesday, looks like Tuesday, Thursday is going to be our extra coverage of Phillies post game. I know Jimmy on the Flight Zone will have a lot of Phillies post games just with his time slot, and us on Wednesday nights, and Jake and the boys on Fan Friday. So there'll be plenty of that. So we'll just mix you in. We'll mix you in a Tuesday, Tuesday, Thursday mix up and give you Phillies post games as well as continuing to give you Sixers. So every post game show brought to you by FanUp. FanUp, the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NBA contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, $50 value. FanUp. Find them right on the Apple Store. Boys, great shit. 1-0.